Hello and welcome to Zara Energy, where astrology meets manifestation, aligned to the power within. We're here to discuss the Uranus opposition, which is a powerful transit. It is known as the midlife crisis. It is known as a stroke of genius, your grand awakening within your life. It is that powerful, happens at age 36. This is when you can start it, you start feeling it. And you're done with the cycle at age 44. Now, it'll peak at certain points depending on your natal Uranus within your birth chart, the degrees that it's at, and when it's exactly opposite Uranus transit. So that being said, this is a powerful, powerful time where we, are here to find ourselves. And I thought this would be something so powerful to speak about because it's not spoken about quite a lot. And I feel that us going into it and us, experiencing it together, and I would love for you to comment in the comments about your experiences, what you've experienced, because we at a point currently where we have Uranus just entering into Gemini July 7th, where it will remain until November 2025. Then Uranus will come back into Taurus, where it will stay until April of 2026. And then Uranus will basically, enter into Gemini, where it will stay until 2033. So that being said, there is a group that are completing the Uranus opposition, and there is a group that's, on the beginning phase of the Uranus opposition. And the group one, which is, almost at the end, is Uranus in Scorpio, okay? And group two, who's just at the beginning, is Uranus in Sagittarius. So we're going to discuss this. We're going to discuss people as well who have navigated this, where we've seen celebrities make major changes. And we're also going to talk about what it means, like for the houses within your natal chart, the transiting Uranus opposing the natal Uranus and the house that's in, because it'll be exactly opposite. So let's talk about it. Share your thoughts in the comments. Love to hear from you, obviously. Now, depending on your natal chart and the planets that you have with the transit Uranus, or the planets that you have that are in your natal chart with your natal Uranus, will define how this experience is for you as a whole. And I think that is important to be said. Now, if you'd like to work with me, my website is available, link down below in the description, as well as if you would like your website to be designed, SXP Tech is there to help you with designing your website. Now, if you were born November 1974 until November 1981, you have Uranus in Scorpio. The exact dates will be down below in the description. And this means that you are at the end, tail bits. You are completing your Uranus opposition, okay? So back in 2018, you would have started this journey of having to go through what we would call this midlife crisis and a whole change within your life. It's an upheaval. Uranus is unpredictable. It's upheaval. It's unexpected. It's a wild card energy that throws spanners into the works in order for you to, make a change. And you do feel rebellious. This is where if you've been putting up with something for far too long within a relationship, within a job, within yourself, you decide you are seeking this freedom. And this would have been pushing you with Uranus in Taurus to seek out this new freedom, to go on this new journey, even though it can be emotionally challenging. And it is emotionally challenging with the opposition, because this is where we feel like life has lost its spark. Life has lost its spark, and we are seeking that spark, and a spark ignites within us. And because we feel the sense of feeling alive, it's electrical, that's Uranus, we decide to go out in search of something different, something unique. Does it bring rebellion? Yes. Does it bring a breaking of cycles? Yes. A lot of people make big changes during this time. This is when divorces and separations, or people decide to, have children or change their career. Yes, these are like, especially with the children, Like if you haven't had kids earlier in your life, this is where you decide that all of a sudden, like in your late 30s, that maybe you want to have kids. This is something that you want. Or if you've had your children, this is when you notice that your kids are getting older. They don't need you as much. They are growing. They're becoming their own people. And then once that starts happening, you're asking yourself the big question: what is happening within my life? What is the next steps for me? Because part of your life, and a big part of your life, would have been the early stages of parenting. But as your children grow, you are now seeking something completely different and a whole, change within your life. And so this is what it would have brought you. And I'm going to discuss this a lot more in depth when I talk about Uranus as a whole. But it is something of a journey that you've been on. And yes, you will continue it. You complete it November 2025 until April 2026, the last bit of Uranus in Taurus. And yes, you will find the dates down below. Uranus in Sagittarius. Now, if you were born between February 1981 until December 1988, and the exact dates will be down below in the description for you to look at it and process it. And if you know your Uranus is in Sagittarius in your natal chart, that house is going to become very important because it's going to be met with the transiting Uranus in Gemini in an opposition. This means that you are on the beginning phase of your journey, of this feeling of something needs to change. Something needs to happen within my life. I am calling for change. Yes, it is a midlife crisis. Yes, it's upheaval. Yes, it is a breakthrough. And yes, it can feel like you're going to lose a sense of yourself, because you do. Think of it this way. You've been adulting for a long time now. Right? You've been doing all the things, working the job, maybe raising kids, maybe not focusing on kids. This depends on your life and your circumstances. So you basically have been working on what was a priority for you. And that was the area that you focused on, whether it's the kids, the job. This is a moment where you become rebellious. This is why it's known as the midlife crisis, because this is where you feel like things are falling apart. Like, I can't do this anymore. Who am I? What is my journey? What do I want? So if you haven't had kids, this is where you decide maybe now you want to start a family. If you've had kids, this is where you're noticing your kids are getting older. This is where you're noticing like, hey, they might not need me so much. They're going to, like, in a few years' time, I can see a big change happening. And you're asking yourself, okay, so what's the next step for me? If you've been in a marriage or a situation or relationship and it's been taking a toll, this is where you decide, oh no, this has been too much of a burden for me. I'm thinking about getting that divorce. I'm thinking about that separation. And sometimes you don't even think about it. It happens because this is an opposition. And whenever we're dealing with oppositions, we are dealing with opposing forces and circumstances. So someone else can present it to you. A situation outside of yourself can present it to you, and you are now put in this position to liberate yourself, and it's going to send you on a whole new direction. The reason for me making this video, so I'm at the beginning stages of this transit, but I could tell something was up, because before you even step into the Uranus transit in itself, right, the opposition, you go through the Saturn square, you go through your nodal return, which is again a big transit energy that is pushing you in a new direction. And the square to your Saturn is asking you about the structures of your life. And I really did feel this. The first thing that happened, it took a toll on my health physically. And outside events, unpredictable events, just like the Uranus energy, it basically, unpredictable medication was prescribed to me by a doctor, and it had an influence on my health that obviously took a toll on me, and it was a very close call. But luckily, everything worked out. But it did ask me to think about things in a different way, the trajectory of my life and death, and what does it mean, and what are my next steps. And if I, if life, you start looking at life like such a precious gift, and not that you don't previously, but now you look at it in a deep, profound way, like, it can be taken by accident. You follow? And this is, it can be taken away from you by an accident. And you start looking at things through a different lens. Now, that was number one. The next part of the journey is that you start realizing that your children are getting older. Now, my youngest, is a teenager. And this means he is going to be quite big pretty soon. And I didn't really notice it, but here's the thing, other people did. So, when you go around with, your child and you go with them everywhere, whenever you're shopping and everyone knows you in the mall that you frequent in your neighborhood. And when it comes to business matters and things that I was busy with related to business that were shopping related, they would know me. So, they'd see me over there and they'd see him over there. And the first thing that started happening, obviously, as he grew older, he wanted his independence. So he spent less time with me doing those things. He spent more time doing his own thing, even, being left alone at home with his cell phone, because he's, going to be 16 soon. So he's quite big. He can do this. And obviously we stay in a complex, so it is a very secure environment. Now, what happens? You go out, he's missing, and everybody's asking me, where is my baby? Where is your child? Where is he? Where is he? Oh my gosh, where is he? And this is when I have to say, yeah, he's a teenager now. He spends less time with me. And that's that realization too. And this is why it's known as a midlife crisis. There's a certain part of your life, whether it's children, whether you didn't have children, whether it's work, that is complete. And now you have to ask yourself the big question: what is my next step? And all of a sudden I had so many ideas and so many things to say. Okay. And here I am sharing my thoughts, opinions, and views on astrology and the world and experiences. And through my experience, hoping that it shifts you to think about your experience and what it means for you. Now, I fall on the spectrum of someone that has children. If you're someone who doesn't have children, you might be surprised by your late 30s, 38, 40, you decide you want to have children. That's what it is. Or if you've been in that marriage and that marriage has been taking a toll on you, and it's basically been like, maybe there was infidelity. Maybe there were things that you could be swept under the rug. The Uranus transit doesn't allow for that. It allows everything to be brought to the surface. It is a point in time where you decide, I've been doing something, adulting in a certain manner, whether that is parenting, whether it's teaching, whether it's your job, whether it's that relationship, whatever it is. It shakes your very existence and it asks you to make changes. And that's why it feels like a midlife crisis, even though it's a stroke of genius. And we will get to that. It kind of liberates you to think of things differently. Life is short, right? I need to do something with my life. Yes, I've been doing a lot with my life, but I want to do so much more. I mean, seriously, I have been reading like tarot cards since like 20 years, okay? I've been doing astrology for 10. That is something big that it asks me like these very core questions. What is your next step? What is it that you want? And that is the energy of this transit. It's a profound awakening about who you are and what journey you're going on. And maybe the things that you loved before, you don't love no more. Doesn't mean you don't love them. Yes, you enjoyed the time, space that you held with them. But now you're looking at something that excites you in a different way. And that's okay. Change is necessary for growth. And sometimes change can be abrupt. It can be unexpected. And I'm not saying that life doesn't work that way and Uranus transits don't. Right? It's a rude awakening sometimes. But sometimes that's what we need to take the next steps within our lives. The Uranus and Taurus transit definitely allowed me to use my voice more. To speak, to communicate, to share a message is what I did. And it really did offer me so many opportunities. I did it here on YouTube. I did it on other social media platforms. And it really encouraged me. And yes, it did come with the stroke of me having this mental epiphany and maybe kind of like a mental breakdown of the connections that I had, asking myself, hey, I have thoughts and opinions, but I don't know if the people I'm surrounded to share these thoughts and opinions. So let me find a unique way. Yes, unique. That's Uranus. The internet. That's Uranus. A way to share a message. So I would say during Uranus and Taurus, I definitely felt it. I felt the shakeup to my mind, to my communication, to my surroundings, to my neighborhood, to the people I communicate with. And I was asking myself those big questions, and I decided to already start embarking on the journey of sharing a message. So that is what I've been experiencing. And now we're going to discuss Uranus, opposition in a more in-depth way as well. The Uranus opposition. This is when your natal Uranus is opposite transit Uranus. Okay? So if you are Uranus in Scorpio, Uranus in Sagittarius, yes, transiting Uranus in Taurus would have influenced you, Uranus in Scorpio, and transiting Uranus in Gemini is going to influence you going forward until 2033. Exact dates will be down below. Now, some of you, like I have said, will be completing this journey, okay, in 2026. And some of you are at the beginning. What do you feel during this time? It's a midlife awakening. It's a midlife crisis. It is a stroke of genius because that's Uranus. Now, at this point in time, you can feel like you want freedom. Life can be boring. It can feel stale, like you've lost something. Something gotta give. And you are seeking this new sense of freedom, this new sense of innovation. You want to feel the electricity running through you because Uranus is an electrifying planet and you're probably feeling that way. And because of this, you're craving a new sense of excitement. Now, one of the typical ways that we see a Uranus transit, and not all men, but we do see this, like the midlife crisis, where a man is married to a woman and he decides randomly he's getting a divorce and he's getting a flashy car and he's, living his best life. Or sometimes he's not even getting a divorce. Sometimes it's just a flashy car. Sometimes he wants a divorce and wants to be with someone new. This is the midlife crisis. It's a point in time where we've spent all of our lives working, our youth, right? And now we reach a point in our lives where we are craving that youth within us because we realize we're getting older. Time is limited. And because of this, it sparks a fire beneath us to want to go after our passions. So that's one way you can see it. It is very common to see this. The next one, now if you're a woman, you would notice this when basically children, either you haven't had kids, now all of a sudden in your late 30s, you decide, this is something I want to do. This is something I want to take the journey going forward. Total change. You are craving something new. Now, if you've had kids, the kids are starting to grow. They do not need you as much. And you notice that role as a parent when your kids don't need you as much. And you ask yourself, what is the next steps in your life? And this does not mean if you're a woman that you won't be craving something new, maybe someone younger, maybe something different. That happens as well. Craving excitement in our physical intimacy is very Uranus because it's electrifying. We want to feel that electrical connection with someone. And it can happen during this time where you decide, hey, I've been in this connection for a long time and maybe now I'm seeking something completely different. And it can happen to you. It can happen to your partner. Now do comment down below. I'd love to hear about your Uranus opposition experiences. This can influence your health. Of course it can. Uranus influences our nervous system mentally, emotionally, and physically. This is when we can feel like we just want to, do something. We want to make a change to our health, or maybe we go through a health crisis and now we have to change our health and well-being. These are all part of the Uranus energy, and depending on the houses that's transiting, it will influence you in that way. Comment down below and let me know what houses it's transiting for you, or the opposition is happening for you, because it can bring about where you need to look at your whole life differently. Marriages can fall apart. If you've been pushing and sweeping something under the rug, maybe you haven't been talking to each other, we just do the things we need to do. Maybe there's been infidelity. This is when you can't ignore it anymore. You got to have that discussion. Either you or your partner does it. Remember, this is an opposition. So when we are dealing with opposition specifically, doesn't mean that you are the one that can spark the change. It means the person opposite you can too, or the circumstances opposite you can too. So maybe at work you become retrenched or laid off, and now you don't know what your next step is. Maybe you just feel like your career is dull and boring and it doesn't excite you anymore. Maybe you decide you want to go back to school. Maybe you decide that you want to just travel the world. It is a point in time where we seek out this freedom that makes us feel alive, because we ask ourselves a big question of what have we been doing with our lives? The 20s are all about, hey, studying, getting that degree, or maybe you weren't studying, starting that job, and then you're working, and then in your 30s, you're thinking about security and all of those things. And then you come to like 36, 38, 39, 40, what's next for me? Now, depending on your natal chart and the degrees of your Uranus, natal Uranus, in your chart, when Uranus is in that exact opposition, you will feel this most impactful. That is when you're going to feel, the power of Uranus. And Uranus does not knock on the door. It kicks the door down. And this is not to scare you, but to give you the honest truth. This is not a transit to be afraid of. Uranus, yes, it shakes things up. Yes, it's unpredictable. Yes, it's chaos. And you can feel like sometimes your whole world is crumbling. The walls are crumbling around you. But it's trying to set you free of the prisons that you've created. And sometimes that security might feel like the only thing that you have. But it is pushing you on a new journey. And if you take the hand of Uranus, right, and you say, hey, because it is a planet associated, the connection, the mythology, the sky god. And you say, hey, here's my hand, let's fly. You can fly. You can fly. It doesn't have to be this transit that you're afraid of unpredictable change and chaos. And I won't lie, it can feel like literal electricity running through your body, like you're vibrating. You can feel impulsive. This is when people make the most impulsive decisions. I ask you to please ground yourself. Get onto nature, step on the earth and ground yourself. And before making a decision, ask yourself, is this the right step for me? I have seen people with this transit jump into, at the ages of, especially around 40, into a marriage that they don't know much about this person. They don't know anything really, but hey, they met them, it's exciting. And you know what, let's get married. And then within a year, they divorce, and that costs them a lot of money. Sometimes that person can even take advantage of you, where you're responsible for millions. And now you're in a legal battle. Okay, I have seen this. I have seen this transit where we act impulsively, take us on a journey that is so chaotic and so disturbing that you feel like, what is this? But it's part of that awakening. So it's not about impulse, but it is about genius insights that you give enough thought to, that if you follow through with the plan, you can find a lot of success with this. And even though it can feel like you losing your mind, because this is very much where you are noticing a part of you, is changing. And that is scary. And that is so profound and unnerving. And if it's influencing your health, and if your marriage has now suddenly ended in disruption and divorce, and your partner's now in this power play, remember oppositions. Always think oppositions, opposing forces, tug of war, me and you. It can feel like it's grueling, but I'm promised you that this is showing you a bigger picture and asking you what gives you freedom. Yes, this divorce is messy. Yes, maybe I'm in a legal battle. Maybe I've been retrenched, but what is my next step? Because the stroke of genius comes in when you are open to what is my next step? What truly gives me freedom? What makes me feel alive? I can feel like I want to be alive. I feel like I've given so much of my life to adulting and doing the necessary things. Think of this as like your inner teenager becomes alive and you're asking yourself like, hey, what do you want to do? And maybe I always feel that there's a part of our youth and the things that we've done within our youth that we carry throughout our lives. That's a part of us, whether that was maybe you found drawing fun. You know what I mean? You're great with your artistic skills as a 5-year-old and as a teenager and so forth. And now you decide maybe, you know what? I might want to literally do this more, and then you do it more, and maybe an unexpected opportunity comes for you to put your art on show and it goes to a gallery. Something exciting can happen if you give caution to the wind and you find the things that make you feel alive. Maybe you want to be a writer, maybe you have a story to tell, maybe that divorce, as messy as it was, or that health challenge took you on a whole new journey. Maybe it's saying write a book, share a message, tell a story. Enlighten us with your experience, because there's something about your experience that can touch us. Maybe you've spent most of your life just staying at home, doing the chores, running after kids, doing the job. Maybe you started your own business and now you have some money and you're thinking maybe I should take the journey and travel and see the world. This is not the transit that wants to imprison you. It wants to set you free. And if you give it a chance by allowing yourself, like deep within yourself, what makes me feel alive? What gives me that electrical pull? What has been something that's always been on my mind? And I do ask you, share your experiences, share your placements. Specifically, where is your natal Uranus? What planets is it sitting in? And where's the transit Uranus? Because what's sitting with your transit Uranus? Because all of those little pieces tell a story about you in your life. And I will respond to you. But this is such a potent, powerful time to reinvent yourself. Experiment. Uranus is the planet of experiments. Don't be afraid to experiment, to see what can work out for you. This is a powerful time. And like I've said, we have seen stories where people have gone through messy, challenging, heart-wrenching situations. I've seen them really set themselves free, either stepping up into psychology, healing, writing a book. Maybe now they're free of their marriage that always took advantage of them and abused them mentally, emotionally, and maybe was never there for them. And now they're free and now they can love openly. Maybe they meet someone new that's exciting. I've seen these things happen. So it's not something that I'm just talking about like, oh, I've seen this happen for people. But if you give this transit a chance, it will bring you back to life again, because you've done the working, the day-to-day, the routine. This is a moment of breakthrough. But in order for us to have these breakthroughs, yes, there's some walls that have to come down. And yes, it can feel like an explosion that's happening when it happens, and it's chaos and there's bits and pieces lying around and all the rubble, and you have to find your way through. But I promise you, the journey is exciting. The road ahead is exhilarating. The road ahead is going to awaken you to you and a whole new possibility of all you can be. And I'm probably definitely going to make more videos on the Uranus opposition, my personal experience, and to check in with all of you of what you're experiencing. And if, like I said, if you are already coming to the end of this, transit, especially my Uranus and Scorpio, please comment down below. let me know. How was it for you? What were the lessons learned? What did you lose? And what are you coming through? And let me know your placements as well, because the placements within a natal chart tell the most in-depth part of the story. This is why I call the Uranus opposition midlife crisis, stroke of genius. It is a moment in time. Yes, the walls are falling down around you. Yes, you're wanting, craving something new. And sometimes whether you want that change or it's inspired change by the planetary alignments, it is calling for something grander and bigger. This is not a time to be afraid, but to embrace the energy and your unique way of going forward. Now, for inspiration, I've chosen some celebrities that during this time, during the Uranus opposition, that made major transformations within their lives. This is where they changed their whole trajectory. They reinvented themselves. And there is a big call with the Uranus opposition to reinvent yourself, to not be afraid of reinvention. Okay? This is how we grow and learn. And this is to inspire you. If you're in your darkest moment and feeling like, what's next for me? You never know what's next. The greatest opportunity could come to you. The greatest idea, epiphany, awakening can lead you to your next moment of success. Vera Wang. Now, Vera Wang was a competitive figure skater, right? Senior fashion editor at Vogue. However, frustrated with the options when it came to, wedding dresses, designed her own bridal gown, launched her bridal empire. And this is so great. It is all about fashion. And she completely took a whole new reinvention of self and what she gave to us all. So this is really exciting. And I would I'm sharing this with you to show you that, hey, something beautiful can happen in your life. Something that you never thought or dreamt of can be your next step. Now, Julia Child. Julia Child had no professional cooking background. Okay. None. However, during this time, she was in culinary school. She decided to, make this change, to go in this new direction, to try something new. And this was a beautiful transit for her because, she published Mastering the Art of French Cooking, right? Much later, at around 49, 50, which is great. So do you see that this journey is so pivotal because it can take you on a whole new direction? Maybe you decide to go back to school and study something. And during those studies, you later in life create a masterpiece for us all. Beautiful, genius energy, And then Oprah Winfrey. Now, Oprah Winfrey, before 40, already had a successful daytime talk show as a host and owned Harpo Productions. But around the Uranus opposition began pivoting to spiritual broadcasting. And this is, it's a powerful moment, and this can take you on a spiritual journey. That's the whole essence of Uranus, is how can we help humanity? What can we do to uplift the collective? What can we do that's insightful? These are just some celebrities. I do ask you to seek out more celebrities during these pivotal ages that you see them make big changes within their lives, because it's going to inspire you, because what our mind can perceive, we can achieve. If we're just looking at it from the point of view like, oh my goodness, things are falling apart. Stroke of genius transit. Seriously, this is my grand awakening. This is where I can change and do something completely beautiful and offer a masterpiece to humanity. Really, I'm telling you, you can do it. And I'm telling you, when you find inspiration in other people, maybe these people do not inspire you, these celebrities, maybe there's someone else that gives you that. It is going to change your whole direction. It's going to change the way you see life, and that's going to make you perceive life in a different way, and that's going to allow you to open yourself up to more opportunities, because what we can't see as a reality, we can't achieve. But if we can see other people doing it, that inspiration can lead us down a road of inspiring ourselves to make changes in our own personal lives. Now, Donald Fisher, right? Before 40, real estate developer, no fashion experience. At 40, opened the first Gap store with his wife. Global, right? This was a powerful, creative global brand. And this is so beautiful because we all know the Gap. Okay, this is something. Now, these are just a few celebrities, like I said, that I chose. You seek out the inspiration. Look for the people that maybe you will find inspiring. These were just a few that I chose to share to give you a little bit of, a spark of like, all is possible for me. This is not the end of the world. It's not my midlife crisis and I'm old and done and that's it. This is your grand awakening. This is the transit to shake up your whole life. Yes, but it's shaking you up so that you can come back to life and do something that really, really makes you feel good, that fascinates you, that liberates you, that makes you feel electrified by your own life. I don't know, maybe you listening is going to do something amazing and share that wisdom with us. Hey, let's face it, the Uranus and Scorpio gen have basically almost towards the end of their transit. Share your experiences. What have you done? What were the challenges? What did you see that you were creating? Especially my Uranus and Sag. What ideas are you having? Share them down below. Love to see it. Inspire us all. This is a moment in time where you do not just hide your skills and talents. This is where you become more authentic, more brave with your authenticity. Share it for us all to see. Awaken us to a new possibility and dream the biggest dream. This is that moment. And whether, your dream is to have children at this age, that is great. That is legacy. These are people that are going to be there for you, in old age, and you are really doing something beautiful. But whatever you are doing, whether it is something that you feel, oh, this is not something inspiring, it is inspiring. Maybe you're deciding to study astrology for the first time. That in itself is a beautiful journey. It's a journey towards self and understanding and perceiving yourself. And that awareness allows you to become so aware about yourself and the world around you and, your spouse and your family and what they're going through. It changes the lens in which you see the world, and allow this to change you. Do not allow this to be something that, oh, well, everything's falling apart. I'm stuck and I can never get out of this. I mean, look at Julia Child. That's inspiring, because not only did she decide to take this whole new course of action to study something, to learn French cuisine, but to later on, in her late 40s, write a book and share that masterpiece with us all. We all know her. I do. Okay. Hope you do too. If you don't, do research her and see, what can be possible with your life and what you can do within your life that can be so inspiring, so enriching, not just for you, but for everyone around you. And who knows, globally too. Transit Uranus in the first, opposite natal Uranus in the 7th house. So with this transit comes a message of, I need to be me, not who you expect me to be. This means that you, with the transit Uranus, is going through a whole shift in identity, how you present yourself to the world. This can be a very, very exciting, exhilarating, profound experience where you just feel electrifying. Okay, this is where you just feel like you're vibrating. You will feel the need to rebel, and the rebellion comes the most from your relationships, personally and professionally. This can bring a lot of upheaval to marriages, love relationships. If you've been in a long-term love relationship, if you've been married for a long time, this is where, if there's been problems, or maybe there hasn't been problems, this is Uranus, your whole identity is shifting. I need to be me, not who you expect me to be. And this becomes the core of what the message is. And if the expectations are too high on the relationship, like the relationship is not allowing you to have room to be free, to be you, this is where the challenge comes in. This is where you're going to break free. This also can bring unpredictable events to your relationships. Because as you changing and evolving, this is where the other person watching you change and evolve, asking themselves, hey, Can I do this? Who is this person? This is a new person. Who are they now? This is such a transformative experience. I wonder what their likes and dislikes are. They want something new within their life. I never saw this part of them before. And this can also bring that unexpected change from the relationship. So either you or the other party decide to walk away. You can see this happen in your professional relationships. Yes, contracts. If you sign to a business, you sign to a contract. If you sign to a company, you sign to a contract. And yes, you can even see this in your business, because why your customers, your clients, those are all part of the contracts that you are in relation to. And as you are shifting and changing and forming this new identity that was always a part of you, but this is now more authentic. It's more out there for the world to see. This is where you might now have a vision for your goals that shift, and you could walk away from that company or make a change to that company in alignment to your goals. Or you might not feel like that company is taking you to the next level. So you could walk away from the company, you can walk away from the business, you can walk away from any situation that is holding you back. And this is not just going to stop with those relationships. It can happen with family relationships. It can happen with friendships. It can happen with the people around you. You must know, I need to be me, not who you expect me to be. So as you are going through this profound experience, yes, the world around you is noticing. The people around you is noticing. Total rebrand, a total whole new look, a total shift. You might decide to change your hair color. You might decide to do something radical to your hairstyle. You might decide to change your wardrobe. You might change that, hey, my goals and what I want to align, with is changing, and I want to go after it. And this is going to cause, yes, a shift in those relationships, because those relationships can't offer the freedom for you to embark on this journey. It is going to create those relationships falling away, because Uranus doesn't knock on the door. Okay? It breaks the wall down. And if those walls are there with these relationships, they will come apart. Now, I would love for you to share your experience with this transit. Let me know how it influenced you. It happens, like I said, between the ages of 36 and 44. This is such a pivotal time in your life. And as well as do share your personal planets, because you might have your natal Uranus in the 7th house, but you could have your Mars there, you could have your Sun there. And this all influences how this transit influences you. Or with your transiting Uranus, you could have other planets in that same first house. So let me know in the comments what you're experiencing, and I will respond to you. Uranus transiting the 2nd house in opposition to natal Uranus in the 8th house. My values are changing, and this changes everything. Now, Uranus transiting the 2nd is your values. It is your money. It is your income. It is your skills and talents. It is your resources. So, as you're going through this pivotal change of what you value, and this can bring a lot of ups and downs to your money. This is like financial liberation for you. So in order to seek out that liberation, you got to see what is no longer in alignment to your values. And Uranus now, your natal Uranus is in the 8th house. This can bring unexpected losses. It can bring unexpected, passing of loved ones. And this is going to ask you to question your values. Do you value your time more? What do you need to do when it comes to your skills so that you can have more time? You can also see inheritances coming through with the 8th. You can also see intimate relationships. Your values are changing. So your intimate relationships, physical intimate relationships, spouses can also show up here. Intimate relationships where you share the most vulnerable parts of yourself. If you have a best friend and that best friend knows your secrets, or a family member, this is where you share, the parts of yourself. I look at the 8th house as the house, especially with Uranus there. It's where we share parts of ourselves. It's also the area of life, like physically share parts of ourselves, like intimacy in the bedroom, and also emotionally. So this is where you're going to see power plays and power dynamics happen within your relationships and your connections, business partnerships, unexpected changes within business partnerships. Remember, where's it all starting from? It's your second house, because that's where the transit is happening. So it's opposing you and your natal eighth house Uranus. So this is where you are very much with your Uranus in eighth. This is where you're very futuristic thinking. This is where can be very independent when it comes to your business partnerships, investments. And this is where the shakeup is coming, because your values are changing. Your core values are changing, and even values about relationships, values with other people. You're going to see where it's misaligned. You can see here with this transit too, if someone has like trying to use power when it comes to finances or treats you like a possession. These are the things that come out in this area. This is also where you question, yes, time becomes very important, because you start noticing maybe more loss around you. Maybe it's not that you that loses a loved one, or other people around you lose loved ones, and you start looking at time very different, because time is part of our values, and what we do with our time is what we get paid for. So you're going to be asking yourself these pivotal and profound questions. And what this is also going to show you is fears around money. If you hold any fears around money, Uranus is going to come and hit a nerve and touch on those fears. Money, inheritances, loans, taxes, debts. How do you spend money? How do you make money? And this is going to shift your values. It's going to give you the opportunity to face those fears head on, because at its core, it wants to empower you when it comes to your sense of self-worth. It wants to show you that you are worthy. It wants to show you that you are skilled and talented. It wants to give you genius ideas about your skills and talents. And maybe you might decide to take a whole new path and embark on a whole new skill. This is where you go study something. This is where you get that genius idea. You want to learn something to change your skills and talents so that you can go and acquire more wealth. But it is showing you your values too, not just about money. Yeah, it's about the people that we value, the possessions that we have. Maybe you lose all your possessions, and through that loss of possessions, it's touching on a fear again, and it's asking you, how can you rebuild? Remember, the eighth house is transformative. It's where we alchemize through pain and find our empowerment. Through loss, we get reborn. It's the phoenix rising, and this is your natal Uranus. So it's questioning you to say, hey, if you lose this earning potential, if you get retrenched, if you lose your job, if you lose that loved one, if you lose what you value, not just your possessions, who are you? What do you value? How do you value yourself? What is your sense of self-worth? And how can you rebuild? This is a very powerful transit. It is very deep, and it's a very, I would say, a sensitive one, because the eighth house is involved. So secrets, lies, deceptions, manipulations, all of those things become triggered. And the fears of losing love, losing money, losing what we value, whatever that may be to you, becomes triggered with this transit, and it's asking you to rebuild, to start a new journey, to move in a new way. And you will get ideas, insights about money, and insights about how you can earn more, because Uranus can bring you unexpected opportunities financially, and you can see that happening as well, right, in your life. Now, I want you to comment down below and let me know, what was your experience been? Are you starting? Are you beginning? Where you at in this journey? Let me know your Uranus transit, what planets are with it, and your natal Uranus, and what planets are with your natal Uranus. Transit Uranus in the third house, opposite natal Uranus in the ninth house. What I believe no longer works. Now, Uranus is changing the way you think, communicate, express yourself. It is also going to create shifts within your environment, the people that you connect to. You can see shifts here happening within your neighborhood, maybe a neighborhood that you are part of, you move neighborhoods. This is where you're changing who you communicate with as well. And it's opposing that ninth house Uranus. The beliefs that you have are now coming into focus. And you're asking yourself, do I still hold true to these very things? Are these ideas true for me? Or are they no longer true? When you are going through a transit that is changing your mind, how you operate, how you think, how you process information, your intellect, and even your hands, because you can also find yourself wanting to become do a lot of crafts and things with your hands. It is changing you. And as you change in communication and expression and who you are, you would notice the people that you surround yourself with too are going to change. This can also take you on a spiritual journey. You can see people here change beliefs, like change religions, change faiths, have a spiritual awakening, seek a spiritual quest, whatever it is. Maybe you were on the spiritual journey and now you are going back. You're going not back, but you're going to a religious organization. This is a deepening of that. Or maybe you want to take your faith to the next level. You can definitely see this happening. You'll be gifted with ideas to write, to teach, to communicate. So you might decide to teach something, right? You might decide to write a book. You might have a story to tell. You might get into poetry. You might get into online networking, communications, sales, something that is going to shift the way that you think. And because of how your thinking is changing, it's going to change your beliefs. And you're going to feel there's a message that you want to share. That's where writing a book comes in. So maybe you go through a whole challenge. And because it's the ninth house, sometimes we can see legal battles come our way. Okay, you might see a legal battle come your way. And once that battle comes your way, or, someone starts getting into someone gets into an altercation with you based on beliefs, or maybe the people that you surround yourself, your beliefs are changing. So it's no longer in alignment. And this is important because when our beliefs change, the people that we surround ourselves with feel out of alignment, because now we don't share the same beliefs. Meaning, like, if I decide now I want to have kids and I'm, 38, and maybe you decide that's not something we ever agreed upon. See the belief change? That happens. Maybe I believe that we should live in back at the farm. I want to move back to the farm. I used to live on a farm and now I want to go back to the farm, right? Or maybe I want to go to the city. And then your partner or spouse or whoever that you're connected to sees themselves as a city dweller. This is going to be an issue. This is what I'm talking about, beliefs changing. And these can sometimes lead to legal situations. Sometimes it doesn't have just to be about relationships, but legal issues is the ninth, and it can come through in that way. And when that happens, it's going to force you to seek out details and information. And it's great because you have Uranus here in the third transiting. Your mind is alive and ideas and communicate, and you can see the duality of things and you can see everything. It's going to give you that future sight. It's great. I feel like if you could get all the facts, details, and communicate, you could win your case. This is really great for, like I said, studying too, where you decide to study something and maybe later on write a book, right? This transit is definitely one that takes you on a journey of information, knowledge, beliefs, spirituality, and travel. You might decide, I'm so done with this environment I've been in. I want to explore the world. I want to go out into the world. I want to see things. Or maybe you decide, I just want to see everything in my environment. This is the country I'm in and I want to explore it to the utmost. And this is the journey you can go on. This is a very enriched period. I will say that can happen with this time as mental anxiety becomes very prominent. You can find yourself having mental breakdowns, especially when hit with maybe a legal matter, or you hit with the idea that your beliefs are changing and the person or people you surround yourself with hold different beliefs, because now you are here to find what's true for you. And this is where the change happens, and that can cause a mental breakdown. Like maybe you feel depressed about it, maybe you feel anxious about it, maybe you're overthinking it. So deep breaths are necessary. Meditation will be something that's highly important, because we sometimes seldom look at how important beliefs are. When we believe something, we just believe in it. We know it. That is it. And once we start questioning what we feel we know and we believe in, this is huge. just like the whole experience that I was giving you an example of, like maybe now you decide you want to have children, and all your life you and your partner were like, no, we're not having kids. We're just gonna, be just you and me. And now you decide to find this desire within your heart for wanting children, for wanting to have people, or little people around you. This is huge, right? This is huge. So now your beliefs are changing. You used to not want this. Now you do want this. And this can create that disturbance within the mind, because now you're questioning, why did I ever agree to that? Why did I say this? Why did I think differently? But it's the experiences that you are going to have during this transit that's going to make you question what you believe and what you held true for you. The career part can also change here, because if the mind changes, the career becomes something that is no longer mentally fulfilling, right? Your job can all of a sudden start creating more stress and anxiety and overwhelm, and you're thinking about, I just want to be mentally free of all of this. Maybe I want to become a travel blogger. And that's what you'll do. Blogging, writing, teaching, information, sharing of knowledge, sharing of voice, motivational speaking will be so powerful. And do share down below your placements. What do you have with transit Uranus in your third and with your natal Uranus in the ninth? Transit Uranus in the fourth. Opposite natal Uranus in the 10th house. To feel free, I need to leave behind what feels familiar. And this is you. So Uranus in this area of life, transiting the fourth house, is basically going to break you free from family patterns, family secrets. This is where you get those family surprises you didn't think you were going to get. You might find out you have a surprise sibling, okay? Or you might find out that your parents are now splitting up at this later stage in life. Or maybe something unforeseen happens within the family. Maybe someone is suffering with addiction. Someone is suffering with something that is happening within the family unit, within your birth family as well, your parents. This is where you are basically breaking free when it comes to generational patterns. This means authenticity, emotional authenticity, and this can leave you feeling very raw and vulnerable. Some of you can also experience unpredictable, unexpected events to your home and living situation. Maybe where you're living, you got to make a move. Maybe that home or what you thought is home falls away, and this is taking you on a whole new trajectory. Now, you do have Uranus in the 10th. And so with this, it's going to bring about an opposition from career. Maybe there's pressure in your career and it's creating emotional stress and strain on you. Maybe you saw your parents working till the day they passed. Maybe you were part of the family business. Maybe you always thought things had to be a certain way. Like maybe you felt like you always had to have a home. You had to have a home, a career, and this is how you would stay till the day you died and your parents did. This is different. This is like, I need to sell this home of mine. I need to live free. Okay? This is your sense of freedom, and it's happening to your heart, your emotions, your family, your ancestral line. Yes, because this is the fourth house. This is where we carry all our ancestral pain, lessons, challenges within our family and home. Whether you have a tense, complicated fourth house or not, no family is perfect, and all families have some cycle that we are here to set free and, create that change going forward. Otherwise, there's no progress for our line. And you're going to be asking yourself these big questions about legacy, line, and what am I creating? What is my safety and security? What does that mean to me? And how does this influence my career trajectory? Because it does hit your career. You can see unexpected events happen within your career, and maybe that causes you to downsize when it comes to your home. Maybe you can see an unexpected win when it comes to your career, and this allows for you to upgrade your home. Maybe you share your voice more, right? And you share your voice from an emotional place. Because this is the fourth house, you emotionally are liberating yourself, so you're going to send out a message emotionally that influences your career. Like this is like something that you care about. It emotionally means something to you. It's your heart, and you're going to share out that message, and it influences your career in some way. The push and pull between family and work becomes real, and you feel the pressure of the two, and you're having to find the balance between home and family. This is where you might decide maybe you need a career that gives you more freedom so that you can feel like you can be more at home, more with your family, more downtime, more time to rest. Although this is Uranus, I doubt you'd be getting much rest. You could feel like you can't sleep. You're filled with insights and ideas about what you want to say to the world. You might even get the most profound and insightful dreams that are pushing you forward on a new trajectory in how you present yourself to the world. The 10th house is how the public sees us. It is our career, it's our reputation, it is our legacy, it is our sense of purpose. Yes, even if you are retired, this is going to be the area of life that is your legacy. When you no longer exist on this physical earth, what will be your legacy? What will be the thing that you are remembered for? And this is why it influences legacy, because you ask yourself, what is my legacy? What emotionally do I feel connected to that I want to put out into the world, that is part of my story, that when I'm no longer here, the generations later can use it, and maybe they can even speak about me and what I provided to the world. This is how the world sees you. And this is where you're going to feel this emotional revolution. And a lot of you are going to have emotional breakdowns, emotional upsets, unpredictable events within family, good and bad. This is Uranus. It's unpredictable. It's never, ever just a win. It's always a win and, some drama and chaos on the side. So it's always giving us this duality within it. And it's asking you to liberate yourself. The more you liberate yourself from the emotional ties to what family meant, the better you'll be. And what I mean, if family patterns taught you like lack mindset, lack of progress, lack of growth, put fears within you about speaking up, communicating, sharing a message, sharing any part of yourself, this will be the moment in time that those fears will be brought to the surface, and you're asked to share that more, to be more authentic emotionally. And this is going to change the way you project out into the world and how people see you, your legacy, your sense of purpose. This can be a major shift for you in what your purpose changes towards. Maybe you decide you want to have kids if you haven't had kids. Maybe now you decide, oh my goodness, after the kids are grown, maybe I want to take up cooking. I want to experiment a little. I want to cook, I never used to. I was all about my career before, but now I want to cook. I want to cook a grand meal. I want to go to cooking school. Maybe you're the next Julia Child, and you're going to do this whole experiment. And with you doing so, you provide something out there in the world. You must know these two houses oppose each other. They're like a seesaw. They're always doing different things. And whatever happens to the one influences the other. So if you grow within career and unexpected opportunity, you're going to see, hey, let's move to a bigger house. If that career falls away, hey, let's downsize. If I emotionally feel called to start experimenting with cooking and maybe learning about it, you know what? Maybe the world are going to see that too. Do you see how it's feeding into each other? Maybe you don't even decide you want to study. Maybe you just take to the internet and start a YouTube channel and decide to cook online. And everybody gets so excited by your unique perspective when it comes to recipes. Maybe you decide to become a family psychologist. Maybe you decide, do you see? And all of this changes the way you present yourself to the world. So whatever you do, whether you are in a career, whether you retired, whether you're unemployed, at this very moment in time, this is pushing forth a new birth within you. And you're breaking old family patterns that tell you that you can't have the success that you want within your life, because the 10th house, right? It's going to show you lack mindset, poverty mindset. It's going to rewire all those things. Where do you feel that you need to depend on something? Where can you find your sense of independence emotionally? This will be the most emotionally independent time of your life. Okay? So do comment down below your placements. Let me know with transit Uranus that is happening in the 4th. What planets do you have there? Now with your Uranus natally in the 10th, what planets do you have there? Because this all shapes the story that you have. And to share your experience, if you've been through this, I want to hear from you and I will respond to you. Transit Uranus in the 5th house in opposition to natal Uranus in the 11th house. I'm not here to fit in. I'm here to stand out. This is tapping into your creativity and self-expression like nobody's business. Uranus is now tapping into that creative juices, those creative flowing energy within you, your hobbies, fun, pleasure. Yes, this will bring changes to your romantic life, your romantic connections. Some might fall away. You might meet someone new and exciting. This is excitement to your romantic life, to your creativity. Challenges here with children can arise. Now, the opposition, you have natal Uranus in your 11th house. This is where you're not here to fit in. This is where you're uncompromising about your pleasure, your joy, your happiness, what you truly want. And say, for instance, if you didn't have kids, this will be a point in time where you decide to have children. Or if you do have kids, this is where you notice your kids are growing up and you wanting to form your own identity. So there is a break within social circles. So I want you to think about the groups that you're part of, the many groups that you are associated with. Your in-laws, your friend group, the group that you basically go walking on the beach with, whatever. The people that you choose to associate with, be a choice. You are going to be uncompromising now with who you are, your expression, your creativity, what makes you happy, your joy. This means you will change who you connect to, the people that you surround yourself. Yes, you can even change jobs at this point in time and make a career shift because it does influence your long-term goals and aspirations. They're being challenged now by your creativity with the transit Uranus in the 5th in opposition to your natal Uranus in the 11th. This means the goals, the ambitions, the future aspirations that you had for yourself. You are now changing all of that. You're joining new communities. You're connecting to new people. This is why sometimes even divorces can happen here too, because you're separating from an old group or community that you used to feel a part of. This is you finding your own identity, your own authenticity. This is a reawakening of your authenticity, your inner child. Childhood wounds can come up at this point in time where you realize that, hey, life has been boring. I've been doing everything for everyone else, and now it's my time. This is my time to enjoy and embrace life. This can feel catastrophic at the time because when we change in such a big way and it's opposing the social circles, your communities, the people that you choose to associate with, be a choice, it changes your whole trajectory from your career to the people you connect to the groups that you are a part of. Highly transformative. Here you are asked to step into your power, embrace your creativity. This can lead to new entrepreneurship pursuits. You can decide to start a business. You can decide to change careers, something that truly makes you feel alive and you're passionate about. This is where your hobbies can also turn to something that basically makes you money, and you basically connect to a whole new community of people that support you. This is you accepting you and showing yourself to the world through your own authentic voice and creativity. Uranus transit the 6th house in opposition to Uranus natal 12th house. My body, my spirit needs freedom now. Powerful, yeah? So you're going to notice that unpredictable events happen to your physical body. Like you might be feeling unwell mentally, emotionally, and physically. You might even need to seek some solitude, some time away from the world. This can also happen through hospitalization, rehabilitation, where you might be a part of a facility where you are seeking that time away from the world. This is about your health and well-being, and Uranus here is going to show you where do you push yourself too hard, where do you suffer from burnout, and when you do, you're going to see unpredictable events happen to your physical body. Uranus is the nervous system, so this is where you can have a nervous breakdown. This can also be your stomach and digestion. This is where you might notice a shift in your digestion when it comes to food and how you need to eat and take care of your physical body. This is profound. You'll also decide that you need to quit your job, or unpredictable events happen to your work life, pushing you to want to leave, or you need to leave due to retrenchment. This is a change in lifestyle, a change in who you are. This is a complete change in your work, your health, your routine. And the one big question you're going to have about your work life is, how does it offer me more freedom? With Uranus in the 12th house, this is where you can feel the need to break free from our reality, especially the day-to-day grind. See, the reality is all things of we work, we eat, we sleep, we got to do this, we got to do that. And your Uranus naturally seeks freedom. This is a very intuitive and psychic energy where you get a lot of downloads and epiphanies, and you will notice this more during your Uranus opposition, where you are getting downloads, psychic, intuitive information. And this is why it's so important for you to embrace the spiritual journey as well, because you will be involved in a spiritual journey. This is also the area of life of service. You might decide that you have services you want to offer to people. Maybe you change jobs and you decide that you want to offer services of some kind to people, and this frees up your time because now you can dictate your time. At the same time, do not overexert yourself, because it is the area of work, health, and routine. You can push yourself to work extreme hours. Uranus is an extreme energy. Middle of the night, and then you are sleeping during the day, or you're up all day and night. Okay, do not do this. You can really destroy your nervous system. It might be hard to relax and to gain some sense of peace, because you're just so alive with ideas and information and practicality here, and your to-do list and the things you need to get done. And breathe. This is already the area, the 6th house is an area of life that brings about a lot of anxiety, stress, and tension, because it is our work, it's our day-to-day routine, it's how we take care of our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. So with Uranus transiting here, you could feel like you're going to push really hard, and you're going to suffer these massive crashes or breakdowns and burnouts, breakdowns and burnouts. So please take care of your health. This is a very spiritual and transformative journey, and you can really help people when it comes to charity, services. Yes, charity becomes a part of it too. You might look for people who suffer with, in worse off conditions, than you do, in order to provide a sense of solace and peace. This is powerful. And like I said, very psychic, very intuitive. You might even decide to take on psychic work, because I'm sure you would have already been having a lot of psychic experiences or epiphanies, or having some semblance of psychic energy, that you decide that now this is going to become your work and something that you do, whether it's a service, whether it's a charity, or something that you offer. It's something you're keen and you're interested in, and this transit allows you to, touch on it more, to awaken it, to push it into existence. Do let me know down below your Uranus placement. Like, what do you have with transit Uranus? What do you have with your natal Uranus? Because this will influence the energy drastically. Like, if you have Saturn and Uranus, this might be a bit more realistic to your psychic approach, okay? So it all depends on the placements that you have within your natal chart. Let me know, and do share your experience. If you've gone through this transit, I'd love to hear your story. If you're about to embark as well, let me know down below. The way I relate to others must evolve, or it must end. Uranus transit the 7th house in opposition to Uranus in the 1st house. This means that your relationships are going to change drastically. Uranus is transiting the 7th house. Where have you been people pleasing? Where have you been overextending yourself? Where have you been suppressing your needs and wants for the other person? This is the area of life that you can see marriages dissolve, friendships dissolve, business partnerships dissolve. Your one-on-one connections can dissolve easily here, because Uranus is showing that these relationships need to evolve, because you are evolving. You have Uranus in your 1st house natally. So you are very unique. You're very futuristic, meaning that you have these ideas and, you're very insightful. There's a lot of innovation. There's a powerful placement of your own unique way of how you present yourself to the world. And with Uranus transiting in the 7th, this is where you can see relationships that are unevolved or trying to box you in, trying to suppress your growth, that you are going to walk away from. This transit can be pivotal and powerful and transformative for you, because it's also going to bring about unexpected opportunities for new relationships, new partnerships, new business contracts. And because you have Uranus in the 1st house, I want to say you're got a bit of the edge. You got a bit of that Uranus streak where you're not afraid to be unpredictable. You're not afraid to be the rebel. You're not afraid to go against the grain. You're not afraid to, do your own thing. And because of this, when these relationships cease to exist because lack of acceptance of how you are evolving and growing, you're very quick to now embark on this new journey of how you present yourself and what you want within relationships. You are seeking relationships with freedom and not relationships that need you to exist to the point that you are pleasing that connection. And through this evolution of self and relationships, this is going to be so transformative for you. Uranus is also going to be opposing you with how you present yourself to the world. And you might even make changes a little. This will also be a point in time where you ask, maybe asking yourself the big questions. Do I close myself off? Do I shut myself off from others? If you have been doing that, because Uranus in the past sometimes can do that. This is a detached energy within the past. So sometimes there can be an energy where you sometimes... It's not that you're cold. It's just that it's mental energy that's running through. It's Uranus, And sometimes it can be like the sense of distance between you and others. And it's going to ask you to be a bit more emotional and more, vulnerable in your relationships to grow them closer. And can you do that? You might feel that. Sometimes you will see a loss of relationship just so you can be emotionally open through the tears and the feelings and everything pouring through you so that you can connect to someone new in a different way. Because now you're vulnerable and it's going to lead you to a sense of vulnerability. Okay, so it's going to leave you vulnerable by leading you to vulnerability so that you can open up more to other people and not suppress your feelings, because you do sometimes, because you're afraid of rejection and you're afraid that others won't accept you and you see yourself as different, and you are very different and very unique and very talented at that. But at the same time, this is pushing you to evolve too within these relationships and connections. And the more that you do so, the more freedom that you give to these connections, personally and professionally, you can land some very prominent professional deals in your work life, right? But it's going to also ask you to evolve a bit, to do something a bit more different. And what I mean by evolve is not like completely change. It's just saying, hey, what unique way now can you share with us that is different from before, that has a touch of vulnerability and your unique perspective, And vulnerability is not like you're putting all your heart and feeling out there in your work life. It is asking you that, hey, what is the sentimental touch here? What is the connection that's close to your heart in what you produce? And it's unique to you. Remember, Uranus is always authenticity. And because it's in your first house, you are authentic. But now this is just deepening that authenticity to a whole new level. Yes, you do suppress sometimes, but don't we all? And the suppression comes from you because you have experienced rejection. A lot of rejection in your life with Uranus in the first house, but it's transiting your seventh house. So this means that, hey, even though sometimes rejection sucks, but it is going to show you something powerful and transformative. And that powerful transformative moment is the people that accept you are the real ones, and those that don't are not meant to be there. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Some people like coffee. It's that simple. So it's not about you. And just embracing, even though sometimes people say it's about you, just be like, hey, if we're not understanding each other, there's a new way. So do let me know down below in the comments your Uranus placement, right? In your first house, what do you have with it? Do you have your sun, your Mars? What planets are with it? Is it with the North Node? And let me know down below in the comments with transit Uranus in the seventh. What do you have with it? Do you have planets there? Are there no planets? Let me know if you experienced this transit. I've already gone through it. What was it like for you? And what was your journey like? And if you're about to embark, share your story too. I'd love to hear how you're feeling about embarking on this journey. To reclaim power, I must let go of control. Uranus transiting the 8th house in opposition to your natal Uranus in the 2nd. This is all about control, power, and letting go. This is about you letting go. It's about trust. It's about intimacy. It's about physical intimacy in the bedroom too. where we become naked and vulnerable with another person, as well as emotional intimacy. You are going to see some power plays, power dynamics come up in your relationship. Secrets will be revealed, unexpected revelations within your most intimate relationship. Some legal debacles might come about. Intimate relationships can fall away. Fake people will fall away. This is very transformative. It's powerful. It's a revolution. And it's a revolution of your own power, that even when things fall apart, even when you lose everything, you regain your power and strength. This is the Phoenix rising, and it's transformative. Financial wins will come. Financial losses will come too. But it's in the moments of the losses do you find your strength and liberate yourself to find a new way, a new idea, and experiment in order to secure business partnerships that last. This is also opportunities, unexpected opportunities for business partnerships, unexpected revelations, secrets being revealed, intimate relationships falling apart, deepening of intimacy with relationships that offer freedom, unexpected relationships coming your way, psychic and intuitive events that happen. This can also bring experiences with death. Either you feel like you could have been at a point of near death, or you see someone that you lose life, or loss of life within your life. Inheritances, this is also the area. Unexpected inheritance can come through. Unexpected losses of like people passing away, or you also almost passing too. This is a very transformative and spiritual journey that you're on, and it's here to kickstart you, to give you a whole new idea on financial liberation when it comes to business, emotional liberation when it comes to trust and intimacy, and also finding your sense of power and empowerment. It's a deep evolution of self when it comes to others as well. Because it is the 8th house, it is our most intimate relationships. These are the relationships that we form psychic connections to. And what do I mean by that? Because we share such vulnerable parts of ourselves, where maybe I was on the floor crying and tears, and you were there to hold my hand and I let you know all my deepest fears. I have now formed that bond, emotional bond with you. It's a psychic connection. So if I lose the connection with you, it feels like a great loss. And if I was physically intimate with you, it also feels like a great loss, because you got to see a part of me that not everybody gets to see. Now, at the same time, they can be unexpected, unpredictable sexual encounters, right? This is the area of life. And maybe you might even decide to go on a whole transformation of your physical intimacy within the bedroom. Try something new, reinvent something. This is really a profound experience. You could also start having deep, wants and needs to study psychology, or you might decide to go for counseling, therapy yourself, alternative healing, spiritual practices. This is that area of life that takes you on a journey on the dark side and the other side. And when I say the dark side, I don't mean it's scary. It's just a part of life that's what we consider to be taboo, hidden. So it's hidden and taboo because like physical intimacy, it's not out there in the open. We don't just see everybody doing it in the streets now, do we? Okay. People will get arrested for public indecency. So that's the whole point of this. It's the things that are done in private. It's the things that we do behind closed doors that you're now more interested in. You'll be more interested in psychology because that's the workings of the mind. We don't see the workings of it, but we know we have psychology, and we know there's a way that we emotionally operate. And you'll want to dig deep into this. You'll find yourself investigating ways to basically work with your money and how you can progress. This is all about your empowerment. It's about financial empowerment. It's about emotional empowerment. It's about the empowerment of, even through loss, still finding the strength within yourself to rise again. Now, do comment your placements. Uranus is transiting that 8th house. What planets do you have there? Is it empty? And with your natal Uranus in the 2nd, let me know. Do you have planets there? Is it empty? And do let me know your experience, if you've gone through this and what happened, what transpired. And also let me know if you're about to embark on this journey. Uranus transiting the 9th house in opposition to natal Uranus in the 3rd. I see the world differently now, and I can't go back. Your whole perception and what you believe is going to shift radically. This can be the point in time that if you were on a spiritual journey, maybe you decide that you want to find a religion. If you were in a religion, you might decide you want to take up the spiritual course. This is where your beliefs are changing and shaking up like nobody's business. This is where you want to roam free. I wouldn't be surprised if you sold your house or relocated to a whole new foreign country as you are evolving and growing. And this is going to change the way that you operate and communicate and express yourself. So because this transit's hitting the ninth, where Uranus is transiting the ninth house, there's unpredictable opportunities to travel, unpredictable opportunities for freedom, for expansion, for growth, for wisdom, for higher education and learning. This can also feel like a crisis within beliefs because it feels like what you believed is changing and shifting. This is like if you were around someone and you had the same beliefs about marriage, the same beliefs about religion, you will notice you're changing and you don't hold those beliefs true anymore. And because of this, you might decide that you want to disconnect from this person. You want to find a whole new sense of philosophy and a whole new sense of community. And this is going to change because Uranus are opposing that natal third, the community you surround yourself, the people you communicate with, the people that you want to share your thoughts and ideas with, your friends. The people you surround yourself with will change and evolve due to this shift in beliefs. It's like if you decide to go and study something or learn something, you're now finding yourself back, at college. And because you're back at college, what does this mean? Who are you going to connect to? A whole new sense of community. So this is where you're going to see that you're going to communicate to different people. You're going to send out different emails, different text messages because of the transit and how it's influencing you. Can legal matters happen? Yes. Because this is the ninth, unexpected legal matters can arise. But at the same time, because you have natal Uranus in the third, your mind is always alight with ideas and epiphanies, and you'll find your way through it, through your sense of communication. And you might communicate with different people in order to find the insights to win any cases set against you. This will be a point in time where you can find so much of liberation, so much of opportunity. I like this transit, this opposition. It really is a quest for freedom. And because of this, it changes the way your whole mind, communication, and sense of expression works. This is great for publishing of books, teaching of courses. If you never were a teacher, you now decide to teach. Maybe you study something. Maybe you go and study Reiki. Maybe you go and study some course. And because of this, you decide, hey, I want to teach. It's just that you are so filled with ideas, and Uranus makes you catch on to things so quickly, like lightning. You get it and it strikes, and you have a message to share. And you don't want to share it with just a small part of the world. You want to expand it globally. Okay, so this way, if you never were a motivational speaker, you're going to become one. Or maybe the way you were a motivational speaker, right? Uranus in the third, your voice is what you send out into the world, and you decide, wait a minute, I have a different kind of message to share. And this is where you see that pivot, maybe you were a comedian, okay, and now you're hosting a television show, okay? Do you see the difference? Broadcasting, media is very profound experience here and can definitely happen because your spirit is becoming alive and it's challenging your mind and how you experience the world. Do comment down below and let me know your placements. Now, Uranus is transiting that ninth house. So what planets do you have in the ninth house? Is it empty with this transit Uranus? Your natal Uranus is in the third, the opposition. So let me know what planets you have there. Is it empty? How have you experienced this transit? If you've already gone through it, and if you're about to embark on this journey, share what you are expecting. I'd love to hear from you and I will respond to you. I must succeed on my own terms. Uranus transiting the 10th house in opposition to natal Uranus in the 4th house. This is career breakthroughs and breakdowns, career success and failing, because this is the area of life where you need to succeed on your own terms. It's independent success. This is the success that comes to you, but it's definitely going to be the success that brings you to your knees and questions the very parts of you that have felt like a failure, because there's no one. No matter how great you are, no matter how you aced every paper at school, this is the point in time where you have to ask yourself a big question. The moments of time where you felt like you are a failure, and embrace that fear, because it's exhilarating. Because let me tell you something, you never ever truly are a failure. Whatever you fail at, you can redo, you can relearn, and you can improve, and you can perfect. And this is going to kind of give you that thrill to want to perfect things, because you want to succeed on your own terms. Now, your natal Uranus is in the 4th. This is going to bring some turbulence, yes, to your home and family as you're moving on this new path of, failings and success, and the way you represent and share yourself with the world. So what you see is this push-pull from family. People you share your domestic living space with. Doesn't only have to be blood family. You're going to break out of those family cycles that told you couldn't do it. You're going to see yourself as independent. You're going to make changes to how you represent yourself to the world. Now, let's say you're retired, or you're not working, you're unemployed, or maybe you had no dream to work, right? Maybe you're doing something else that fulfills your payments, and basically you have no dream to work. This is still your legacy, your sense of purpose and reputation. Uranus will come in and change that all for you, because remember, this is the success on your own terms. So maybe you never had a career, now you want one. Maybe you've had a career for all these years, now you don't want one. It's your reputation. You just decide to make pivots and changes left, right, and center. Maybe you've been for years at this company, but now you want to work at a new company. Maybe you've been retired for a bit and now you want to take up a new job. Maybe you want to start a business. Maybe you want to go back to school so that you can create something that makes you feel independent and successful. Maybe you've been part of the family business for years, or maybe you felt isolated from your family, and now you're looking for a sense of belonging through creating a business that fulfills people's hopes and dreams within their family, right? Maybe you decide you want to go into home decor and you want to help people with their homes, or you want to go into wedding planning, and because of this and the family you never had, you want to help other families celebrate. This is independence on your own terms, and this is that liberation that creates you to have a vision for your career, your legacy, and what people remember you by when you're no longer here. That is what the MC 10th house is. It's our career, it's our legacy, it is what the world sees us as, whether it sees us as a teacher, whether it sees us as a genius. This is what the world sees us, and this is what people will talk about, I feel personally, when we pass, because they're going to talk about our legacy. They're going to talk about the things we did, the purpose we led, our career. Think about it clearly. When you meet someone, they'll be like, hi, and you'll be like, hi, and they're like, so what's your name? And you'll introduce yourself, and the very next question they're going to ask, so what do you do? Oh, I used to work in finance. Oh, I'm retired now, but this is what's giving me my new sense of purpose. Right? This is what's giving me this excitement in life. I'm retired, but I spend a lot of my time at the country club, and I've been taking up lessons in golf, and I'm finding it exciting. Okay, so this is your reputation, what people talk about when they meet you and want to know about you. And when you pass, yes, they'll be like, yes, oh, she loved golf, right? She worked for many years, retired, and found an interest in golf, and she really excelled. Or maybe she wasn't the best, but either way, they share your story. This is your story, and you're about to rewrite it with Uranus here. Yes, there will be shakeups and failures and, points in time when you feel like you're having a breakdown, but it is a breakthrough towards your success. Do comment, have you had this experience? Are you embarking on this journey? And let me know, with Uranus transiting the 10th, what plans you have in the 10th house, because this will influence this energy in opposition to Uranus in the 4th natally, where you have your Uranus. What planets are there? Is it just transit Uranus, nothing in their 4th house? Do let me know. And I'm wishing you all the success, and know that you can do it. What used to light me up no longer does. I need to find new sparks. Uranus transit the 11th house in opposition to natal Uranus in the 5th house. So this means that you are going through a whole transformation of social circles, dynamics, future wishes, and dreams. This transit of Uranus is going to be electrifying. And Uranus likes to be here. You're going to find your soul tribe. You're going to find your community. Maybe the community and the people that you choose to associate with, their choice, no longer makes you feel that spark, So yes, separations can occur with this energy, because you're seeking that spark and you're seeking a new form of soul tribe, people that align to your soul. Maybe before you were just about the pleasantries in life, and now it's saying, hey, it's no longer about the pleasantries. Embrace your unique, authentic self and find the people who accept you as you are. So you can see people going through major transformations here and unpredictable events. Your work. Whether you like it or not, your work life is an organization and it's a group of people. And the 11th house is groups of people, organizations. So a transit here can bring where you decide to make a change in like your career, who you connect to. Maybe this group of people at your work are just no longer fitting in with who you are and you make a change. Maybe you're forced to make that change by being retrenched or the company closes down. And you got to find a new way to pivot now. Maybe your trajectory of what you see for your future changes. This is like, hey, what do I want for my future? And you make a complete 360 and do something completely different. And because of this, it helps you connect to new people. Now, because you do have natal Uranus in the 5th house, this is your creativity. It's going to challenge your creativity, your creative ideas, your pleasure, your fun, and yes, your romance. And that's why sometimes you can fall out of love with someone because you realize that spark is gone. You're not feeling that electricity and you're seeking electricity now. Your social circles and communications and networks and the people you connect to via choice online and in person is what you are seeking. Some of you will get to fame. You might decide you want to be an influencer. And some of you may be like, what? I'm like, at this age, yes. All of a sudden, something happens in your life and you have this message and you want to share it and you don't know who to share it with because the people you're surrounded by don't get you. So you take to online to share your theory, your thoughts, your ideas and what you've learned and your understanding. And this helps you connect to a community of different individuals that now you form a new stage of bonding, and this gives you this rise to influence. The 11th house is influence. It is leadership. It is support from your community. And if your community don't support you, this is where you seek out the community that does. If a love relationship falls by the wayside, it will be very clear to you about the community and groups of people that support you in that instance and the groups that don't. And you will only seek to surround yourself by the people that truly feel aligned to your soul, part of your soul tribe, and support you. So if you're finding a lack of support, don't push to get that support. Walk away from this community because it's trying to show you a new place that you belong. And that means embracing rejection and truly accepting yourself and finding the people that accept you for you. Do comment down below. Have you experienced this? As well as if you're embarking on this journey, let me know with Uranus transiting the 11th. What planets do you have there? Are there no planets? And with that opposition to Uranus in the 5th, what planets do you have there? Right? With your natal Uranus in the 5th, do you have planets there? Or is it empty? What aspects are in your natal chart? Share down below. I will respond to you. And I'm sending you so much love. Wishing you all the best. I'm being pulled inward. My awakening is starting from the inside out. Uranus transiting the 12th house in opposition to natal Uranus in the 6th house. This is about solitude, rest, time away from the world. This transit is going to take you on a whole new spiritual journey. You're going to find yourself isolated, left by yourself. You got to go it alone. This is that lone wolf energy. Now, with the opposition to the natal Uranus in the 6th, this can bring about changes in work and health. Maybe your health, there's a health crisis, a work crisis, as in you being retrenched, let go of, or you decide to make a pivot within your career. This is about rest, and you're going to be seeking that rest. You might even decide to travel here, unexpected voyages, trips over water and sea. This is where you are now discovering a new sense of self. This is the area of life that's about travel. It's about spiritual awakenings. This is about truth being revealed. Unexpected lies and deceptions come to light. Secrets being revealed. Hidden enemies come to light. Emotional baggage you've been holding on for far too long onto, just you have to release it. This is a whole spiritual journey, a psychological epiphany. You can even go to therapy, go to counseling. You are seeking help here. And it's okay to do so, because remember, this is a long transit, and through the help that you seek, this is going to give you a spiritual purpose, and you might decide to embrace that spiritual purpose. It might become something that you do for work. This is where your whole routine and day-to-day life is shifting, and you might even implement spiritual rituals within your day, whether that's meditation, meditative walks, singing bowls, affirmations, crystals. You are now embarking on the journey of the unknown and trusting and surrendering. Yes, this is pivotal. Yes, it's a point in time where you have to go it alone, and you will find spiritual teachers along the way, but they're just there to guide you as you are listening to your highest self and your highest calling. This is where you answer the calling from the higher self. This can also be spiritual work that you give, and also charitable work where you decide to offer charity to others, to offer a helping hand. This is a moment in time where you've become very aware. Do you emotionally get too attached to people? Like literally, there's no boundaries between you and them. This is where boundaries dissolve. And you're learning to now through your intellect, see this in a different light, and to create boundaries so that you can progress. You're realizing that, hey, before I didn't have any boundaries, and maybe this was okay, but now I need to have these boundaries for my own sanity, because sanity becomes a real thing here, and you can't have that mental breakdown because it is so emotionally overwhelming. And because it's so emotionally overwhelming, it's so physically triggering. So you will make changes to your health, your work, your routine. You will also choose to work in a field that offers you more sense of fulfillment. We're talking about soulful fulfillment. We're talking about a fulfillment of the highest high, a higher calling. And you'll be answering that call and that mission. You will be seeking the spiritual way through, whether that is through whatever spiritual means that you find. Maybe it's through church. Maybe you go to church and you decide, hey, I need this right now because this is what I need to get through my hardest days as I travel and navigate the most emotional experiences that I feel are challenging, where I'm letting go of things I thought that were going to be in my life forever, things and people. So this is profound awakening. It's a profound revelation. Yes, it can be challenging, but it is taking you on a journey through this whole spiritual process. And you might even step up into sharing your own spiritual message. You might have insights. Your creativity will be awakened. You might decide to write poetry. You might decide to create art. You might decide to sing, dance. You might decide to play the guitar. This is the realms where we have to create, where we have to tap into the unseen and create something, whether that's through spiritual practices or whether that is through creativity, art, and music. Yet at the same time, it does encourage you to travel, to seek out that spiritual journey. As you journey through the world, you are going to be journeying inward as well. You might do a solo trip. You might do a trip to a spiritual destination or some location that offers some spiritual significance and meaning to you. And you might have an epiphany there, and it changes the way you see yourself and the world. Do comment down below your placements. Let me know if you experienced this. How has it been if you're embarking on this journey? There's so much to say about this, but I'm sending you so much of love. And do comment down below where you have transit Uranus in the 12th. What planets do you have there natally, as well as the opposition Uranus in the 6th house, where your Uranus natally is? What planets do you have there? Is it empty? Do comment. I will respond to you. Send you lots of love. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was insightful. I do look forward to hear from you. So do comment and I will respond to you. And if you'd like to book a reading with me, my website is linked down below. Wishing you all the best.